Let's play a little game. I call it good deal or no deal. The rules are easy. I post a product in my community feed here on YouTube. You vote in a poll. If you've been following my channel, you've probably seen the polls and have already had a chance to vote. So let's look at the results from round one of good deal or no deal. First up is a brand you love to hate, a complete bass package from Scar Audio. It comes with an enclosure loaded with a 12-inch Scar EVL subwoofer, an RP 1500 amp plus a 4-gauge copper wire kit for $510. So is it a deal? With a total of 289 votes, it is split right down the middle. 52% of you say this is a deal. This is too close to call. I was a little bit surprised by the results, but then I went and priced out the individual pieces. If you bought them individually, it would cost about $20 more, so it really isn't that great of a deal. I'll be sure to put links to all of these deals down in the video description, as well as a link to my community page so you can play the game as well. Since you weren't too keen on the Scar, I thought we would try a Sundown package. This is one of my favorite packages of all times, a pair of 12-inch Sundown Audio E-Series subwoofers with the JP8 amplifier. Now you will need to buy a wire kit to go with this, whereas the Scar package had a wire kit already built into it. 54% say it's a deal and 46% say it's not. Next up is the JFX 653S, a three-way component set from Down for Sound. And you say no deal. I was a bit surprised by that. If you go over to Crutchfield, you're only going to find one three-way set that's cheaper than this set. Compared to other three-way sets on the market, this is a great deal. But for a few bucks more, you can go with a brand that's got a reputation for sound quality like these Morels. So while I disagree with the results and think this is a great deal on a three-way component set, I kind of get why the vote played out the way it did. Next up is another component set. This time it is a two-way set with a 6x9. And you were not thrilled with this one either. 192 votes, 84% of you said no deal. I'm going to disagree with the knowledge of the crowd. Here's why. This is Sony's top-end mobile ES line, which should bring some serious sound quality to the table. Plus, this is a 6x9. It's got more cone area than a 6.5 and should give you more mid-bass output. At the time I recorded the video, you can get this on the Crutchfield outlet store for $350. But if you say those Sonys aren't a good deal for you, then they're not a good deal for you. As an alternative, right now as I'm filming this, Crutchfield's running a sale on their Infinity reference series speakers. The 6.5s are $176 and the 6x9s are $220. These are probably going to be the first poll that I do for the next deal or no deal game. Up next is another bass package. This is a pair of 8-inch subs, an amp, and a wire kit for $200. So is it a good deal? 56% of you say that it is. Well, that's close to half, but not far away from half that we can just look at and say that has to be a good deal. So I thought I'd bust out some fancy stats. Here is a binomial test. The null hypothesis is that this package is not a good deal. And if we use a one-sided test, we can reject that null and conclude that this is a good deal. Just as a comparison, here's what the same test would look like if we ran the numbers with the Scar from a few seconds ago. And this time you failed to reject the null hypothesis and cannot conclude that that is a good deal. If we run the same test on the Down for Sound package, we can conclude that it is also not a deal, but keep your eyes peeled for when these things go on sale. Looking down at the comments, we can shed a little bit more light as to why this is considered a good deal, but the bigger, more powerful Scar package is not. It appears that you seem to think that this would work well for an entry-level starter system, the kind of thing you buy for a kid when they get their first car. Up next is a subwoofer, a Dayton Audio Ultimax 10. Now I've got one of these. It's a great subwoofer. It was on sale when I posted the poll. And you say that, yes, this is a good deal. I agree, it's a great sub for home theater or for a sound quality build. It's really good at getting down to the low notes, and when it's on sale, it is a great deal. When I first started getting into DIY audio, I used a lot of Dayton Audio products because they provide some serious bang for the buck. But in this post-pandemic world, inflation has eaten away at their value proposition. When these things are not on sale, they're not a very good deal. If you think you want one, hang tight and wait for a sale. At the very very least, check down the video description. I've got a coupon code that you can type in when you order something from Parts Express. While we're at it, let's do another Parts Express subwoofer. Currently on sale for $150 is an 18-inch subwoofer. One thing that jumps out at this big subwoofer, it has a tiny magnet. How can it handle 800 watts of power with a tiny magnet like that? That is a Neo magnet. So there's no doubt in my mind that this subwoofer can handle its rated power. But here's the big question, is it a deal? And you say, yes, it is a deal. I disagree, because it is an 8-ohm subwoofer. They don't seem to offer a 4-ohm version of this big 18-inch sub. So you'll need 2 of them if you want to wire to 4 ohms for home use, and 8 of them to wire to 1 ohm in a car. If you're going to build a big base van with 8 18s, you're probably going to go with subs that can handle more than 800 watts. On the upside, they are very sensitive, so you don't need as much power to get loud. If they offered these as a dual 4 ohm, I would grab a pair. And I think they would be a killer deal if they were available in a dual 4 ohm. One thing I want to point out to you, the X-Max on these is 6.5 millimeters, but the specs say that it can move 48 millimeters peak to peak before damage. If you divide that 48 peak to peak number in half, you get the X-Mech. That's the mechanical limit of the subwoofer. Before we go on to the next one, I need some feedback from you. Should I keep doing this game? Do you get value when I post deals on my community page? If so, then hit that like button so I'll know to keep doing these polls. Down in the comments, tell me how often I should make a video summarizing the results. I'm thinking no more than once or twice a month. Next up is something completely different. We have a head unit. This is one of Kenwood's top of the line head units. It's an Exelon with a 6.75-inch screen. It's got wireless Android Auto, wireless CarPlay, multiple camera inputs. You can hook up an iDataLink Maestro and make it do all kinds of tricks. Plus it has a disk drive so you can play CDs and DVDs. It was on sale 15% off when I posted the poll. Plus they had a discounted version in the outlet store. I'll make sure to leave you a link down below so you can see the current price. So is it a deal? You say no, which kind of surprised me because it was 15% off, so I thought it was a good deal on a high-end head unit. Looking through the comments, the general impression is that, well, first of all, it's a whole lot to pay for a head unit. And most of you who commented seem to indicate that you'd be better off jumping up to a larger screen or spending less on a single DIN with the same audio quality. I totally get that. But on the flip side, to get a name brand head unit with all the features this one has, at that sale price, it's definitely a good deal. But something like this Alpine right here is a lot cheaper, and the only significant feature that you lose is the DVD player. Here's another subwoofer. This is a Pyle tube style amplified subwoofer. They offer both a 10 and a 12-inch version. Before we look at the poll results, I want you to look closely at this right here. It's got a 15 amp fuse. If we use the old rule of thumb, we should expect 150 watts RMS out of this amp. If you were to compare that to the Rockville package that I showed you a minute ago, that's a 3 or a 350 watt amp. So for just a little bit more, you can get a whole lot more performance out of the Rockville package. No surprise, you say, no deal. The people have spoken. Before I go, I need to say thank you to all of my patrons, with a special thanks to $25 and up patrons, Johnny, Timothy, Paul, Jonathan, JD America, and Bo. I'm Justin. This is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.